What's up, dude? Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hi, if you are new here, my name is Carly and I do true crime videos, celebrity news, gossip, honestly a lot of just like whatever I feel like at the moment. Today we are doing a true crime video, and this is one that has been in the news quite a bit recently because there have been some new developments in it. So let's just jump right into it. Suzanne and Barry Morphew both grew up in Alexandria, Indiana. They met in high school where Susan was extremely well liked and Barry was a baseball player, and he actually ended up being drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. So Barry was actually pretty good. It wasn't until after Barry graduated high school that the two formally began dating. And then in 1994, they got married. Barry started a landscaping business, so I guess baseball didn't work out for very long. And Susan was a school teacher before becoming a stay-at-home mother once she had her two daughters, Mallory and Macy. Mallory ended up going to college in Colorado, and according to friends, Barry and Susan moved just outside of Salida, Colorado to be closer to Mallory. However, of course, there's always rumors and gossip, and people suspected that the two needed kind of a fresh start for their marriage. They had been hitting a couple of rough patches. Now keep in mind, these are all rumors, but you never know. So that's just kind of why they decided to move out there based on the rumors. They thought that it was because they just kind of needed to reset their marriage, you know, get away from their hometown and, you know, just have a fresh start. On the morning of May 10th, 2020, Barry got up and he drove to a job site that was 150 miles away in Broomfield, Colorado. That same weekend, Mallory and Macy had been camping and they were making their way back home, but even though they were coming back from a fun little trip, they didn't forget to wish their mom a happy Mother's Day over text. However, Susan never responded. The girls let their dad know that they weren't able to reach their mom, and eventually Barry reached out to one of the neighbors to go over and see if Susan's mountain bike was still at the house, and after they reported that it wasn't, Barry immediately asked them to call the cops. Why Barry didn't call the cops himself? It's just kind of a mystery to me. I think that's very interesting that Barry didn't think that he should call the cops and say that his wife's last communication was at such and such time. It's just kind of funny to me that he asked the neighbors to do that. Anyways, Barry didn't head home right away either. Instead, he dropped off a shovel and some other tools to a coworker at a hotel where Barry also had a hotel room. Honestly, though, that's not super weird, because if, I had to drive 150 miles for a job site that's going to last more than one day, I would just try to get a hotel room and spend the night, because overall I feel like it would be cheaper and you would get more sleep. So I don't think that's weird. I do, however, think it's weird that he did not leave to go back home until 6 p.m. that night. That was kind of weird. Anyways, after a search, police did locate Susan's mountain bike and her helmet off the side of a cliff about a mile off the side of Highway 50. There wasn't any clothes, blood, or evidence that there had been a struggle on the site. They also found her car, and that had her sunglasses and hydration pack still left inside. Investigators suspected that the scene had been staged, and Susan never actually went for a bike ride that morning. That's just their little thought, though. Susan was relatively new at mountain biking, so it could be argued that she did maybe have an accident of some sort, but it is odd that she didn't go back to her car and go home, or call for help if she needed help. That's just a little suspicious, if you will. The search included scuba divers searching the local waterways in case she had maybe fallen into the water. That search, however, did come up empty. According to CBSNews.com, local and state authorities, along with the FBI, CBI, and civilian volunteers, conducted a large search effort across vast and rugged terrain. However, Susan still was not found. 10 days after she was reported missing, investigators found a spy pen in Barry and Susan's master closet in their master bedroom. They have a walk-in closet. The pen is voice activated and it would record conversations. Susan thought that she would catch Barry having an affair. However, the only conversations that she ended up recording were the ones between her and her own little secret lover. So Susan was getting a little extra loving on the side, and we genuinely don't know if Barry had an affair or not now. That's, to be determined, I guess. After 6 months, the authorities were finally able to identify the man who actually had a wife and 6 children in Michigan, where the family lived. He did not come forward when Susan went missing. But instead, he did take steps to hide their affair that they were having. You know, like deleting accounts and probably messages and whatnot. So it's not like he was guilty and was hiding anything. He just kind of wanted to hide the affair. If you're having an affair and then that person goes missing, you probably don't want to come forward because then you also are outing yourself to your significant other. So, once investigators found out who he was and kind of tracked him down, he was totally cooperative and he provided a DNA sample, phone records, and passwords for accounts that he had actually deleted. So at least, I mean, he was totally compliant, willing to help them once they figured out who he was. The day before Susan went missing, she and her little extra man, they sent 59 messages back and forth up until investigators believe Barry murdered his wife. At one point, Susan sent the man a selfie, which investigators called her last proof of life photo. At 2:26, while he was running errands, Barry sent Susan a text telling her that he was on his way home. Then he texted again, "Did you leave?" But again, there was no answer. Investigators believe that Barry went back home, killed his wife, and then cleaned up the scene. Interesting. But what would his motive be? If he didn't know that Susan was having an affair, why did he want to kill her? That's a great question. There was a deleted text on Barry's phone that had been sent by Susan just days before her disappearance. "I'm done. I could care less what you're up to and have been for years. We just need to figure this out civilly." So it sounds like Susan was ready to, be done with the marriage. Barry's cell phone records show that on May 9th, Barry was roaming all over the house, and he said that it was because he was running around the property trying to shoot chipmunks, which he claims were a constant nuisance. Barry told investigators that he went to bed around 8 p.m. the night of May 9th, but according to his pickup's computer, the vehicle had been put in reverse and backed up towards the house around 9:30 p.m. Interesting. Now, there were texts between Susan and a friend that show that they really were struggling in their marriage. Susan was confiding in a friend, telling her all about, their marriage struggles and just kind of how over everything she ultimately was. So that could be his motive, that he didn't want to give her a divorce. That could easily be it. I mean, we've seen it before. Now, police did find a tranquilizer dart on the property, and they asked Barry, hey man, what's this about? You know what I mean? Now, Barry is someone who likes to collect deer antlers. A lot of people do. Some people go hunting for sheds and stuff, because I think that deer shed in the spring. It's got to be in the spring that they shed. Which, I mean, great way to get outside, exercise a little bit, but it's not something I'm really into. But some people are really just into collecting antlers. No shame. So Barry said, "Oh, I can explain that, boys." Well, here's the deal. He goes, "One day, I'm sitting in my living room, right? And out walks a gorgeous buck. Huge rack of antlers, and I just thought I had to have that. So I got my tranquilizer, darted it, and then sawed off the antlers while it was passed out." And he did admit and that he knows that is very illegal. You are not supposed to do that. So they could have gotten him for that because he admitted it fully. But yeah, he said, so you'll probably find darts like that all over the yard. Don't worry about it though. I'm just doing something else illegal. Not murdering my wife. Just something else. So that's cute. But then on May 10th, the day that Susan was reported to be missing, investigators found security footage of Barry going all over town, the town of Broomfield, Colorado, where the job site was, throwing away black garbage bags. Funny. So they asked him, "Barry, what's that about? Why are you going to different dumpsters throwing stuff away?" And Barry goes, "Oh, because I don't want to have to pay to dispose of this stuff at the landfill. So I just drive around town, burn up gas, and throw these bags in dumpsters." But there's a lot of dumpsters that say, "Do not dump your garbage in our dumpster. It's against the law." So again, just Barry breaking a different law, not murdering his wife, breaking a different law. But actually the police are pretty positive he was just disposing of evidence. So that's so cute. So then Barry was arrested almost a year after Susan's disappearance, and they got him they charged him for first-degree murder and tampering with physical evidence, and then there were some other charges, but those were the two big ones. And they were it seems very clear, Mr. Barry, that you couldn't control your wife, you couldn't force her to stay in the marriage, so you hunted her and killed her like you do with animals. So they tried to get him for those charges, but his daughters stood with him as he pled not guilty. He was like, yo, not me, sorry, I did not do that. So he just kept pleading not guilty, and eventually he was released from jail on bond, his daughters still by his side. And then the investigators went through Susan's vehicle again, and they found some DNA evidence, and it was a partial match to other DNA evidence that belonged to an unnamed man connected to 3 unsolved sexual assault cases in Tempe, Phoenix, and Chicago. Wild, right? But then eventually they did just drop the charges against Barry, and that is because at the end of September of this year, like maybe a week ago, they found the remains of Susan's body. Now, the police will not say where they found them, and that totally makes sense because you don't want someone to go and just, I don't know, be nosy and check out the site and then possibly ruin evidence. And also sometimes they will withhold facts and evidence that they found just in case someone slips up and reveals some information that they have not released to the public. They have gotten people that way. So, and then there weren't really any big leads in the case. I believe that they did drop the charges against Barry because they didn't want to try him and then have him get acquitted without having, or before they had all the evidence, because if you get tried in a case and then you're acquitted, you can't be tried again. So they wanted to make sure that they had all the possible evidence that they could have, so that way when they did go to trial, if Barry did in fact kill his wife, that they could make sure that they got him for it. Well, just this, I guess now past month, at the end of September, they did in fact find the remains of 49-year-old Susan. But the police isn't releasing where they found the remains. They kind of want to keep some under lock and key just in case anyone would slip up and maybe, have some information that hasn't been released to the public. Sometimes they'll do that, and also they probably just don't want people going to the crime scene and maybe messing it up before they're able to investigate everything in the area. And I believe that is actually where this case unfortunately ends up. I'm very happy though that they did in fact find her remains, because hopefully we'll get some answers in this. Although now Barry and his daughters are doing some interviews, I think just local ones, which if I can find any clips, I'll put those here. But I have a strong suspicion that Barry did in fact do something to Susan, and honestly I hope that she just gets the justice that she deserves, and that their poor daughters get some real answers, even if it unfortunately is the fact that their dad killed their mom, which would be insanely sad, but also they deserve to know the truth. They're 2 grown adult women. I don't know, if something happened to my mom and my dad was involved, I would 100% want to know, just so that I'm not hanging out with someone who did something to my mom. But anyways, that is it for today's video. If you guys found this to be interesting, please be sure to give it a thumbs up down below, and like I said, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If not, totally cool. Thanks for hanging out with me for this video, but that is it for me today. If you guys have more information to add on about this case that I just maybe didn't mention, definitely comment it down below, and I do have my case sources linked down below as well. I used CBS News, which honestly had a fantastic summary of what happened, and that was pretty much all the information that I kind of needed. And then Law and Crime is also another really great website if you guys want to learn or just read about more cases and whatnot. They also do have a great TikTok that I love watching. They're very interesting, and their information does seem to be extremely accurate. It's not made up. I think they just get their information from other news outlets and then kind of compile it all together for you. So those 2 are linked down below. But other than that, I hope that you guys have a happy and safe day. Stay safe out there, always be watching what's going on behind you. Don't make any enemies. And also, I hate saying this, but keep in mind your spouse is the statistically most likely person to do something to you. So just, be careful. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll be back on Wednesday with another true crime video. Bye, guys.